أنا عالمي.
أقول لكم أنا عالمي. ما سمعتوا؟ Again, excuse me. نسمع مع بعض.
أنا عالمي.
Cristiano Ronaldo is considered by many as one of the best footballers in the history of this sport. And his name is engraved in diamond letters on the pantheon of legends of the round ball. CR7, a powerful nickname and a logo of hell, and it must be said that in terms of show, the Portuguese has no lesson to take from anyone. Because apart from his memorable soccer performances, CR7 was also a real stage performer, capable of grabbing all the attention on the pitch and off it too. The Portuguese striker is in fact the most followed physical person in the world on Instagram, with just over 523 million followers. Needless to say, the degree of fame he has reached in recent years is unimaginable. Unfortunately for him, the player has decided to end his career not in apotheosis as we all hoped, but by a contract certainly juicy, but which is worth nothing footballistically speaking. So, is it true that the legend CR7 now belongs only to the past? And did the mythical footballer really ruin his career? That's what you'll know right away by watching this video. So, make yourself comfortable and dim your lights. The next part might be particularly exciting. Unless you're from another planet far away from our solar system, or you've just come out of a coma that lasted 20 years, you must know Cristiano Ronaldo. His poster covers the bedrooms of teenagers and teenage girls too, because you see, the man is not really what we could call ugly, right? And his name is on everyone's lips, transcending even the world of soccer and sports to reach the highest spheres of fashion and social life. In the space of a decade, Cristiano Ronaldo has risen to the top of world soccer, accumulating all the titles and records possible and imaginable, to finally become a true living legend. However, very few know the story of his life and his human and professional journey, and very few know the extent of sacrifices and dramas he lived through in his childhood. If we told you, for example, that his own mother tried so hard to abort him when he was still a poor little fetus in her womb. The Madame Ronaldo simply did not want a new child, considering the poverty in which she and her family were already living. So she drank boiling beer, she ran out of breath, and she even went as far as hitting her belly in a violent way. But nothing could be done. Little Cristiano was already a pugnacious fighter in his mother's belly. He resisted against all odds and was born without any after effects or collateral damage, a real little baby champion. Later, when he will enter the legend and when he will become a billionaire, he will pave the road of his poor mother in solid gold, taking her out of her misery to make her immensely rich and happy. One wonders what Madre Ronaldo thought when she realized that the one she didn't want was the one who is going to make her rich beyond her wildest dreams. But this was only the beginning in the life of the star, because he had to face another chapter very oppressive in his childhood, when he had to leave his native island for the old continent, without landmarks or any care. Far from his native Madeira, far from his dear mother and father, his brothers and sisters, and his childhood friends, lost in the middle of a fierce and threatening megalopolis. Cristiano Ronaldo was a young boy of 11 years old, lost in Lisbon, a furious Latin megalopolis where young fragile beings have no place. He had to adapt very quickly, despite the mockery of his friends and his teachers, who thought he was a retarded young islander. Oh, but don't worry. CR7 defended himself very well with an incredible aggressiveness sometimes, so much so that we hurried to repatriate his mother to Lisbon to calm him down. We certainly didn't want to lose this young promising player because of a stupid fight that could have turned bad. The Madre left her job as a cook in Madeira to join her son and live with him, all expenses paid by the club sporting CP, of course. From there, it is another page which is written in the fabulous history of the young Portuguese, since it was going to shine 1,000 fires on the European grounds. His dribbles and his amazing technical gestures, as well as his incredible speed and his innate sense of goal, made him very quickly noticed by the biggest clubs of the place, which recognized his enormous potential and which did not want to pass by in no case. Milan AC, Liverpool, and even the mythical Barca all wanted him and were ready to bet big to sign him, but it was quite different. Because it was with the prestigious Manchester United that the son of Cristiano was going to rise. A son quite unusual in the heart of the English fog, but which was going to flood with its light a championship that at that time was rather moribund, or at least, frankly, boring. And the bet was won by the Portuguese, who once disguised as the Red Devil unleashed the fires of hell on the English fields, as well as the hysterical passion of millions of fans. That's when Cristiano Ronaldo became a world-famous star, as legions of internet users furiously typed his name on their keyboards just to watch the amazing compilations of his dribbles and goals. The rest of the story? Everyone knows it, right? Well, a little reminder doesn't hurt anyone, does it? Cristiano Ronaldo managed to set the British stadiums on fire, as he was going to set the Spanish ones on fire, who were eager to see him finally play in La Liga. Yes, the young striker had shown so much that he had completely hypnotized the club of clubs, Real Madrid. The Madrid club had indeed eyes only for him, and it did not hesitate 1 second to pay a huge fortune to acquire him. The amount of the transaction, 94 million euros, that is to say at the time the most expensive transfer of all the history of the soccer. It is thus in front of a Santiago Bernabéu stadium full to bursting that the young striker will make his triumphal entry on July the 6th, 2009. From then on, nothing and no one could stop the magnificent trajectory of CR7, who, flanked by his white shirt and his mythical flocking, does not cease to cause sparks in the Spanish championship. Soon, another legend emerges, this time from Barca, and Cristiano has finally found an opponent at his size, in the person of Leo Messi. This Argentinian chip, who takes after his illustrious predecessor Diego Maradona, will then begin a long rivalry with the Portuguese, a bit like the Alpha and Omega, or the North Pole and the South Pole. The two players share a legend, an almost visceral rivalry, but also a duality that will surprise many, so much so that one is incomplete without the other. But Cristiano Ronaldo will not have the luck of Messi, unfortunately, because the Argentine will have won almost everything, including the much hoped-for World Cup. We certainly saw him in Qatar in his unforgettable edition of the World Cup, and what was the sadness of CR7 that all the cameras of the world showed sobbing to hot tears. Alas, the poor footballer, evicted by his team by Morocco in the quarter-finals, will never again dream of wearing this cup. Now 37 years old, which will make him 41 years old in 2026, it is more than likely that the Portuguese selection, if it ever sees itself qualified, will forget to call him. He who dreamed so much to wear this mythical cup and who had worked night and day like a robot to achieve it, in fact, he will live to see his longtime rival wearing this beautiful trophy and sleeping with him in his own bed, like a precious blanket, the most precious in truth. The Portuguese will also suffer from the fact that he is second in golden balls and that he will remain so forever. He has only 5 in total, against 7 for his eternal rival Argentina. Very soon, his same incredible statistics will be surpassed by the new cracks of soccer, like Mbappé and Haaland, who have the advantage of their age, and therefore all the time they need to finish making his legend disappear. At the dawn of his 40th year, would the mythical CR7 be pushed back into the oblivion of history after having reigned without sharing on the world soccer during more than 10 years? Unfortunately, everything leads us to believe it, because the rest of the career of the Portuguese striker is, to say the least, bumpy and full of pitfalls. First of all, the legendary footballer found himself without a club, since Manchester United literally got rid of him like an improper. Don't believe these honeyed messages from the club on Twitter, which sings on all the rooftops that they are sad to have to separate from Cristiano, emphasizing the fact that it is done by mutual agreement. Because it is necessary to know that the Portuguese has not been tender towards his former club, nor with his coach specially. During an explosive interview for a British TV channel, CR7 admitted that he did not respect Erik ten Hag, the Manchester United coach. He also revealed that he was under pressure from some of the club's managers to push him out, because it was clear that they didn't want him at the Mancunians anymore. This shows how much the player had become a persona non grata in England, which forced him to leave Manchester United with his tail between his legs. However, thanks to his celebrity, which exceeds all borders, including those of soccer, CR7 could have bounced back from this disaster without his reputation being tainted. Unfortunately for him, it was not so, because the Portuguese surprised everyone by announcing his signature with the Saudi club Al Nassr. So, the undisputed star of the game decided to take a golden retirement in Saudi Arabia to benefit a little from his petrodollars. A sporting retirement that ensures him, it is true, a juicy contract, since the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner will receive no less than 200 million euros per year for the next 3 years. His contract, which will end in 2025, will ensure him a monthly income of more than 16.67 million euros, which makes it the most expensive contract in history, all sports included. CR7 can console himself with his millions, which will probably become billions with time, but he will never be able to claim the throne of world soccer, for his greatest misfortune.